Nai Haochuan immediately intervened. You are not his match. You have no chance. Lin Tai-shan, with outstanding martial arts skills, was a level 4 martial artist. If his father hadn't been injured, he could at most fight him to a standstill, let alone his child. Wai Xiang turned to her father and said, Dad, I am also a level 3 martial artist. Only Lin Tai-shan is a level 4 martial artist. We might not necessarily lose to him if we team up. Seeing that Wai Xiang and Nai Haochuan were hesitating, Lin Tai-shan lost his patience and waved his hand in provocation. Hey, how much longer do you want to negotiate? If this drags on any longer, the Martial Artists Association will close, so why don't you just come up and accept your fate? Are you planning to make me fight you all again tomorrow? Wai Xiang, not one to back down, quickly charged forward. Just wait, I'll make you lie flat on the ground. I want you to walk around the streets holding the sign Our Hong Chuan Dodo. Lin Tai-shan, now losing his patience, quickly launched an attack. This kid has a sharp tongue. It's really annoying. Lin Tai-shan unleashed a series of attacks that hit like tentacles, overwhelming Wai Xiang. He rushed towards Wai Xiang to strike her. Suddenly, Nai Haochuan yelled out. Nai Haochuan used his body to shield her from the blow. Wai Xiang, caught off guard by the rapid turn of events, could only stand there and scream. No. Nai Haochuan was struck by a blow from Lin Tai-shan that sent him crashing into the wall, even leaving a long dent in the ground with dust flying everywhere. Lin Tai-shan, with a vicious look in his eyes, flashed a disgusting smile. Nai Haochuan, you are truly useless, can't even withstand a single blow. Ha ha ha. After taking the hit, Nai Haochuan puffed up blood. He struggled to stand up and wearily said, Lin Tai-shan, you've broken through to level 5. Lin Tai-shan burst into loud laughter, a triumphant look on his face. Surprising, isn't it? Ha ha. Nai Haochuan, you've been hiding in this dojo teaching martial arts to kids. Has it really been a long time since you fought a master like me? Ha ha ha. He arrogantly pointed at himself and declared, Is there anyone left now? Nai Haochuan felt completely helpless at this moment. He trembled in pain and said sorrowfully, Enough, didn't you want to shut down our Hong Chuan dojo? All right, I will go to the Martial Artists Association now and cancel the dojo. Hearing this, Wai Xiang was in tears, kneeling on the ground and sobbing. Seeing that he had achieved his goal, Lin Tai-shan smiled contentedly and said lightly, I still believe in the character of martial arts dojo owner Nai. If that's the case, then I will take my leave now. The group prepared to leave with victorious smiles. Ha ha ha. At that moment, Lu Sheng suddenly walked in and said softly, Wait, the dojo was fine just now. Are you really saying you're not going to open it anymore? Where am I supposed to train from now on? Lu Sheng's sharp gaze swept across the room, and a cold glint appeared in his eyes. Wai Xiang was crying uncontrollably. Tears streamed down her face. Lu Sheng! Lu Sheng raised his hand in greeting. Long time no see, Ms. Wai Xiang. One of the troublemaker's subordinates spoke softly. It was him who made our students come over here. Seeing his subordinates talking nonsense, he walked towards Lu Sheng with a greedy look and shouted at his men, Shut your mouths. Lin Tai-shan stared at Lu Sheng and then patted his shoulder, speaking loudly, Not bad, not bad. Indeed, a bold spirit, a true talent. Hey bro, are you worried that after Hong Chuan Dojo closes, you won't have anywhere to train? You don't need to worry. Our Tai-shan Dojo will welcome you anytime. As you can see, Hong Chuan Dojo is made up of useless people who can't even withstand one of my moves. What do you think a dojo like that can teach you? Come to my Tai-shan Dojo and I will personally teach you my secret techniques, absolutely no hiding. Lu Sheng pretended to be innocent and asked back, Oh, a special skill. Lin Tai-shan continued to boast in front of Lu Sheng. He opened his shirt to reveal a body as hard as stone, proudly saying, That's right, an excellent skill as tough as steel and as high as a mountain is the martial arts technique passed down in our Tai-shan Dojo. Once mastered, it's invincible. I'm not bragging, among peers, very few can break my defense. Nai Haochuan couldn't, and neither could the others. Nai Haochuan sat in a corner, realizing this, remained silent and endured. Lu Sheng lifted his sparkling eyes and innocently asked back, A martial arts technique as powerful as that, and you want to teach me? Seeing that Lu Sheng seemed excited, Lin Tai-shan tempted him further. Of course, I would be happy to. As long as you join our dojo and ask me, Lin Tai-shan, to be your teacher, I will definitely teach you. Lu Sheng replied with a mocking smile. So how do you plan to teach me? Lin Tai-shan still hadn't realized the danger looming nearby. He laughed it off, secretly thinking, why is this kid talking so much? He said, If you come, I will. Before he could finish his sentence, Lin Tai-shan was in so much pain that sweat poured down his face like rain, gritting his teeth to endure the pain. At that moment, he was bracing himself with his hands in a guard position covering his face while his feet dug deeply into the ground to hold steady. The muscles all over his body were now tense. Seeing that he could still withstand one punch from him, Lu Sheng gave a thumbs up in admiration. Impressive, you really are tough. At this moment, Lu Sheng delivered another punch. Lin Tai-shan truly collapsed, flying quickly into the wall, which shattered into fragments. He fell to his knees, unable to stand up. Lu Sheng assessed, "Oh, were you supposed to teach me? How can you teach me while kneeling?" Lin Tai-shan was defeated by Lu Sheng with just 2 punches. After taking care of Lin Tai-shan, Lu Sheng shouted, "Lin Tai-shan, you've lost." His subordinates, seeing their master lose so quickly, stared wide-eyed, sticking out their tongues and shouting like a swarm of flies. Did you not say this was a second-level martial artist only 18 years old? Why is he still swollen? Hurry and help the master up and run. As they carried their master away, they did not forget to threaten Lu Sheng. "You better watch out, kid. Lu Sheng, be careful on your way." Wai Xiang hurried over to help her father sit up. Lu Sheng asked concernedly, "Are you okay?" He politely reached out to his sister. Wai Xiang shyly took his hand, blushing as she said, we're fine." Lu Sheng sincerely replied, "Don't let the dojo close down, or I will find a place closer to home, which would be very troublesome." Nai Hongchuan held Lu Sheng's hand, his eyes filled with immense gratitude as he said, "It must be like this. I really appreciate you this time. Just tell me what you need, and I will do whatever I can." Lu Sheng waved his hand and politely replied, "No need to be so formal. This matter arose because of me, but it will only be this time. In the future, if you encounter similar situations, you may have to rely on your own strength to protect yourselves. You know that in this world, only the strong have a voice." After finishing his words, Lu Sheng quickly left. Nai Hongchuan and his son watched him go with reluctant eyes. Nai Hongchuan said, "A martial artist who has just reached level 5 with a body trained to perfection was heavily injured by a single punch from Lu Sheng. It's truly terrifying. To easily defeat Lin Tai-shan like that, only a top-level martial artist could accomplish such a feat, right?" Wai Xiang said in fear, 3 months ago, Lu Sheng was only a level 2 martial artist. What level is he at now?" Upon returning home, the moment Lu Sheng stepped inside, he smiled happily. "I'm home." Lu Sheng's mother quickly came out to greet him. "Back already?" "Xiao Sheng, why are you so late? Didn't you say you could come back this afternoon?" He explained briefly. "On the way back, I saw a group of people bullying some weak ones, so I helped a bit." Lu Sheng's mother was immediately alarmed, checking him over several times, asking, "What? Did you get hurt in the fight?" Lu Sheng's father called out from inside the house with a proud tone, "Your son is now an official martial artist. He will be just fine." Lu Sheng's mother still had tears in her eyes as she held his face, checking, "Are you hurt anywhere? Here or here?" Father Lu Sheng took a satisfied sip of wine and said, "Practicing martial arts should be like this. When encountering injustice on the road, you must step in to help. Fighting the strong and assisting the weak is what makes a true man. Lu Dahai's son must one day go to the battlefield to kill strange creatures and protect the country." Lu King whispered to him, "Brother, what kind of meat have you been sending back? Dad looks much healthier after eating it. My energy has also increased to 1.1. This meat is even better than tonic. Could it be that you stole it from the training camp?" Seeing his little sister thinking ill of him, Lu Sheng pinched her cheek angrily and said, "Why do you think that about your brother?" "Don't worry, I earn all of it myself." Lu King screamed in pain as he pinched her cheek. "Ouch, ouch, ouch." Lu Sheng's mother came into the kitchen and brought out a bowl of rice piled high like a small mountain. She asked with concern, "Saddle Sheng, was it hard in the training camp? Don't push yourself too hard. Safety is the most important thing." Father Lu Sheng came out of the kitchen, fully supportive of Lu Sheng. "What you understand? Xiao Sheng, I can see it. Since you were little, you have always had a charisma in your heart. You are destined to become someone very formidable, to accomplish many great things. Even if you fail, our family will always be your support." He patted his chest proudly, which made Lu Sheng smile in response. "Yes, I understand." Lu Sheng was enjoying the happy moments with his family. The harmonious and warm atmosphere made him think to himself, "That's right, in order for these normal and warm days to continue, I need to keep getting stronger, strong enough to block all disasters and protect all of this." After finishing the meal, Lu Sheng began to continue his training in the Dreamscape. Now the zombies wandering in the city were easy for Lu Sheng to deal with. These zombies were no longer a threat to him. Suddenly, a zombie rushed at him from behind. Lu Sheng quickly dealt with it, sending it to heaven in a heartbeat. Lu Sheng raised his fist. Ha! Now, even a level 6 martial artist zombie can be taken down with just one punch. This time, Lu Sheng had reached the center of the city. Inside the building, there was an eerie blue light glowing. Lu Sheng stood at the door of the building, looking inside and wondering, this is the center of the base, right? He thought to himself, in the past, the formidable undead he encountered here was a significant opponent. He wondered if it was still a rival now. First, he would sneak inside to probe the situation. Suddenly, Lu Sheng noticed the shadow of a zombie observing him from above, startling him. What? The zombie was so fast that Lu Sheng couldn't react in time and could only brace himself while taking a step back. This zombie exuded the aura of a master. Lu Sheng could feel this overwhelming power and started to sweat, thinking to himself, the density of its blood energy, its flesh like stainless steel, even a 6th level martial artist could not have such a sense of pressure. Master Scene, having absorbed too many battle memories in one breath, a desire for destruction constantly arose in his mind. As long as he activated the glass view tactics, he could eliminate the agitation, but now, he didn't want to lose the courage to fight it. Fight it was, Lu Sheng repeatedly unleashed his wind-breathing technique, ramping it up 6-fold, stellar development force. After Lu Sheng executed his skill, the zombie remained unscathed. It could easily break through all of Lu Sheng's techniques, leaving him dumbfounded. Lu Sheng thought to himself, what? Although he had used all of his strength just now, he had unleashed power 6 times greater, and with a perfect kicking technique supporting it, its combat power index was still over 100,000. Yet he couldn't even move its 2 fingers. Just how strong was this powerhouse? Lu Sheng clenched his teeth and exerted all of his strength, unleashing a series of new techniques. The energy sphere surged tenfold, the star power erupted, resulting in a massive explosion and 2 powerful attacks directed straight at the zombie master. The surrounding stone was shattered into grainy dust after the explosion. However, once the explosion ended and the dust settled, the sight before Lu Sheng left him in shock for a long time. What? Surrounding the zombie master was a layer of incredibly strong shielding. No matter how much he attacked, the barrier absorbed it all, barely affecting a single hair on the zombie master. At this moment, Lu Sheng stood before the zombie, thinking to himself, this is the legendary invisible stance. The intensity of the bullets cannot penetrate. This is the power of a master. Lu Sheng stood there helplessly observing for a while, still not finding a single gap, while the zombie before him just stood there waiting for him to make a move. Not launching an attack, no intention to fight? Feeling discouraged, I sighed and sat down on the ground to regulate my blood circulation. No, it was completely impossible to fight back. My all-out attack only struck the thin veil, with 99% of my strength negated, leaving me without even the qualifications to make him move an inch. This was still the residual force field of a deceased master, left outside this body. Fortunately, this master-level zombie didn't seem to regard me as a threat. My attacks were only passively blocked with no active counterattack. Otherwise, I would have died on the spot. Finally, I understood why there was such a vast difference in status between level 6 and level 7, even though they were just 1 level apart. Level 7 could be called a master, while level 6 merely belonged to the common realm of martial artists. The gap between the two was truly immense. Right now, I couldn't even forcefully drain blood. What should I do? Give up? Lu Sheng thought for a moment and decided to find a way to remedy the situation. No, there must be a way. As long as I kill it, I can access the memories of the master. Lu Sheng, after making up his mind, charged forward once more. This time, he used all of his strength, grit his teeth, and was determined to smash through the protective barrier. Hundreds of punches were thrown with destructive power. After delivering the final blow, the barrier bounced back. Lu Sheng's power ultimately rebounded, causing him to be knocked back. Lu Sheng finally began to feel tired. He sat down to rest and think of the next approach. I felt it earlier. The master's stance is not invincible. The stance is slightly weakened, even though only a little, almost imperceptibly, but it definitely has weakened. If this erosion continues little by little, perhaps there will be a chance, but I guess it would take countless attacks to obscure this stance, and my stamina is almost depleted. He continued to think, if I were using the natural breathing method to recover, a 3rd-level martial artist would have long since collapsed several times. What should I do now? Should I retreat first and come back to deal with this tough bone once my strength increases? However, with his mental power reaching level 3, hunting zombies below level 6 was like cutting grass. One sweep would clear a large area. Lu Sheng seemed to have thought of something. Wait, mental power? I haven't tried that yet, directly using mental power to attack. Since I have never practiced the combat techniques of a spirit thought master, I have always used mental power as a supporting tactic, using the Divine Illumination King's Sutra to enhance my vitality, almost forgetting that I am also a 3rd-level spirit thought master. Compared to my strength in martial arts, my power in the realm of spirit thought master would still be stronger. Thinking his doing, Lu Sheng quickly used his mental power to create large crystal blocks. Holding a few crystal blocks in his hands, Lu Sheng thought to himself, I still can't condense my mental power into blades or spears, but this is enough. Then, Lu Sheng used his mental power with the crystal blocks to rush towards the zombie. The crystal blocks caused the protective barrier to shake, but it still had no significant effect. Seeing that he had successfully shaken the zombie's protective barrier, he tried even harder. It's effective, but still not enough. Once again, Lu Sheng condensed another crystal block, exerting maximum force, condensing it and combining it with his strength, and forcefully struck down the crystal block to shatter the protective barrier. The protective barrier was gradually cracking under the immense force. Seeing that the barrier was not completely broken yet, but only cracked a bit, Lu Sheng felt like going crazy. He frantically created countless crystal blocks. Is this enough? Then, with respiratory flame, mental power, stellar development force multiplied by 10, and perfect martial technique, Lu Sheng combined all the martial arts techniques he had learned with all this strength and this decisive punch. He shouted, "Break for me." Finally, the shield cracked open, revealing the zombie master inside. The zombie seemed to have no intention of fighting back. It stared at Lu Sheng with empty eyes. Perhaps it had long sought to be freed. Lu Sheng raised his fists, ready to finish him off. "Eternal light, your will is inherited by me." After being hit, the zombie smiled with a sense of relief, its wrinkled face relaxing. At the same time, Lu Sheng received the memories that the zombie possessed. He exclaimed in astonishment, "What?" Within the memories was the image of everyone joyfully celebrating. "Mr. Shi Sheng Ning, congratulations on your breakthrough. Starting today, you are the master." The scene changed, filled with news of strange creatures flooding into the city. The situation was extremely dire, worsening by the moment. Although the high-level experts were running everywhere, they constantly lost ground at the base. The base numbered under 100 was located at the center of the Martial Arts Alliance. It was the safest place in the world. "I have arranged the boat. You can depart this afternoon." "Isn't father going with everyone?" Shi Shengning reluctantly bid farewell to his daughter and wife as they faced the strange creatures. He had arranged a safe hiding place for them. For the fate of the nation, he had to step onto the front lines to protect the country and his family. He gently stroked his daughter's hair, saying his final words, "Father is a master, so I must stay on the front lines. The last drop of blood for humanity." The memories continued to shift scenes. In front of him was a level 9 strange creature, powerful enough to destroy an entire city. Even from a distance, he could immediately feel a shiver. He was a master with a strong will, so there was nothing to fear. Why should he be afraid? Why? At that moment, Shi Sheng Ning was rallying his spirit to face it when Lord Wang Hang stepped forward. He quickly pushed the monster back. The absolute power of Lord Wang Hang, a casual strike, was truly overwhelming. With a being as powerful as Lord Wang Hang among humanity, there was definitely hope. Success! Ha ha! Lord Wang Hang has taken action, gaining insight into an entirely new fighting technique. Achieving the 8th level peak mastery in this lifetime is not impossible. Just as he was rejoicing in victory, Shi Sheng Ning was suddenly stabbed from behind by a strange creature, with its attack piercing straight through his abdomen, causing him to collapse on the ground. He looked at the approaching beast and felt a chilling sensation. Was this what it felt like to face death? He had heard that the Martial Arts Guild had initiated the Fire Seed plan, aiming to nurture a level 12 powerhouse from the strength of all of humanity, something that had never happened in history before. Did humanity still have hope? It was just a pity that he would no longer be able to witness it. After Lu Sheng finished viewing that memory, he was horrified, sweat soaking his clothes. Is this the life of a martial arts master? Compared to any memory absorbed previously, this was incredibly strong, a life so remarkable, legendary. The martial arts master was named Shi Sheng Ning. In life, his path of cultivation was based on boxing techniques. His boxing skills, a meaning of the boxing techniques, and his combat experiences were now integrating into my body. My boxing level was skyrocketing, entering a realm of understanding, entering a high-level realm of understanding, entering a pinnacle realm of understanding. Lu Sheng looked fascinated at the palm of his hand, secretly thinking, "Mastery of the control realm. This is what the martial arts master Shi Sheng Ning learned throughout his life." Then Lu Sheng turned to look at the old zombie slumped on the ground and said, "Wang Hang in Shi Sheng Ning's memories. Aside from his wife and daughter, this name was mentioned quite a bit by him." The name Wang Hang matched that of the founder of the Mystic Star Body refining technique. He looked at him thoughtfully. Wang Hang entered martial arts 1,000 years ago, evidently also a super grand figure. His nickname was Extreme East and Negative Sun, and he exuded immense power. Even the 7th level master Shi Shangning was his admirer, but it seemed that Shi Shangning had only seen Wang Heng in action once and was inspired to create an immensely powerful martial art. Lu Sheng wondered, so why wasn't this name found in Shi Shangning's memories? He began to rummage through everything chaotically, trying to search. Perhaps it was buried in deeper layers of memory. After searching for a while, Lu Sheng was drawn to a shining golden gem. He sat in front of it, perplexed. What is this? Then he touched the strange object. Suddenly, Lu Sheng was pulled inside the gem. Inside, Lu Sheng moved with difficulty, feeling completely invaded. Behind him were countless eerie red glimmers. He frowned. Was this really the enemy that Shi Shangning once faced? As someone who had stepped half a step into the grandmaster realm, he shouldn't be afraid, so why did he feel such terror? Looking at the scene before him, Lu Sheng was deeply confused. What exactly was hidden within that darkness? Was that scene Shi Shangning? In front of him was Shi Shangning, standing under the blinding sun, surrounded by dense smoke. Suddenly, strange rays of light flashed from where Shi Shangning stood. They pierced through the enormous bones above and shattered them. Lu Sheng recalled that in ancient mythology, the son of the heavenly emperor is Kim O, who has his own responsibilities. Each Kim O represents a sun. When 10 suns appear in the sky, rivers run dry, the earth cracks, and the terrible light and heat incinerate everything, leaving no living beings able to survive under the 10 suns. Lu Sheng thought in admiration that this is what Shi Shangning had devoted his entire life to learning, even intending to use this to aim for the supreme grandmaster technique at the 8th grandmaster level, naming it 10 suns shine at the same time. Now Lu Sheng clenched his fists, his whole body radiating abundant energy. He swung his fist forward and said loudly, "It's mine." Lu Sheng looked very impressive and strong now. The next morning, the early sun sparkled on the golden flowers and the city was very peaceful. Lu Sheng sat at the head of the bed, basking in the morning sunlight, deep in thought. He looked at his hands and silently thought, "My spiritual power seems to have undergone some qualitative change." He raised his hand, his gaze serious. "Concentrate." A source of purple energy gathered. Lu Sheng was surprised, not expecting to succeed. He could sense that the total amount of his spiritual power now wasn't much different from before, but the quality was vastly different from what it used to be. He looked up at the sky, feeling a sense that an ordinary martial artist could hardly imagine. He could sense that he had, in a way, thoroughly stepped into the realm of superlative life. With determined eyes, Lu Sheng was extremely confident that with the pressure of his spiritual power, he could crush a 3rd-level martial artist, even a 4th-level one. Not only that, but his body also showed signs of a master level. Although it was only a thin layer, as long as he released more spiritual power, he would become much stronger. Even though the current enhancement is at its maximum, the thickness is still not comparable to even 1% of that zombie master. Compared to him, like an ostrich egg, I am just a chicken egg. In front of the door of the room, Lu Sheng's hand radiated a golden aura. Possessing a stance is equivalent to having the initial concept of a master's intent. Although he is currently just a sprout, Lu Sheng clenched his fist and the sprout quickly grew. His expression was full of confidence, and it would one day become a great tree. From there, he would transform into a true martial intent of the master that belongs to him. Cutting to Hai Tian Sheng Yan, Lu Sheng was sitting and waiting for someone. He took his phone and texted Sing Shan Pharmacy. She quickly apologized and came right away. Lu Sheng casually thought that now leaving the training camp would have strange creature meat provided every day. Even more importantly, he extremely needed supplements to support his cultivation. It was time to connect with the people from Sing Shan Pharmacy. At this moment, he Su rushed over, panting heavily, sweat pouring down like rain. Seeing Lu Sheng, she was a bit surprised. It was just a student who arrived. Then, quickly regaining her confidence, her face showed a smug expression, thinking that this time it would be easy to handle. Lu Sheng quickly invited her to sit down, opened the menu to look, and then said to her, "I heard that the steak at this restaurant is quite good." Suddenly his gaze became sharp. "Can I eat while we talk?" He Su smiled affectionately and replied, "It's all right." Then she handed her coat to the staff to hang up. Despite her cheerful demeanor, she felt a bit flustered inside. How should I say this? Lu Sheng turned and said, "Waiter, give us the best quality steak. Bring me 40 portions, medium rare." The waiter quickly responded, Yes, sir." She was very happy to hear him order 40 portions, while he Su had confused expression. "Are you a person or a pig, eating 40 portions of steak in one go?" She shook her glass. "That's true. Lu Sheng is a martial artist, so it's normal to have a big appetite. But one portion of steak is $128. 40 portions would cost $5,120. He Su wondered to herself, With him eating that much alone, he must feel embarrassed asking me to pay, right? Lu Sheng looked up at her and asked, "Do you want to eat?" But she modestly declined, "Thank you for your kindness, sir, but I have already eaten." Hearing her refusal, Lu Sheng quickly said to the waiter, "She's not eating, just bring the dishes directly, I'm hungry." Su thought to herself, judging, what a greedy pig. Then, pretending to be sincere, she said, "This time I came to." Suddenly, Lu Sheng tossed a piece of paper towards her. It read, Su, 22 years old, from Ba County, Hongan Province, Guanglin City. He told her that he Kai-Ming was initially just a small pharmacy apprentice 10 years ago when martial arts started to gain recognition. Based on his innate ability, he Kai-Ming excelled at martial arts, and his natural talent for alchemy surpassed many others, eventually becoming a level 5 alchemist and founding Xingshan Pharmacy. Hearing this, Su's expression darkened, her gaze cold, and she frowned at Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng continued without caring about her expression. The branches are spread across more than 20 cities in Dongning Province, with a total of 213 stores. Although Xingshan Pharmacy has remained quite popular in recent years, she angrily exclaimed, "You," but was quickly interrupted by him. However, Lu Sheng looked at her seriously. Because business did not go well later on during her father's generation, Haji quickly fell into decline. Su's expression was not pleasant. She frowned and asked Lu Sheng, "Mr. Lu, are you here just to read a few documents available online? What are you trying to imply?" Lu Sheng asked sarcastically, "Do you think my memory is good?" Soon after, the waiter brought out 40 plates of steak. Lu Sheng's expression was very eager. He began devouring the first few plates of steak. Before long, there was a pile of plates on the table. While chewing, Lu Sheng said to Su, "No, I also know your mother, Chen Lan, who, due to family reasons, hasn't returned to Dongning for 20 years and has never met her daughter even once. The reason why Xingshan Pharmacy collapsed so quickly in your hands is not only due to outdated concepts and poor business practices." His sharp words felt like daggers to her heart. Su tried her best to force a smile. Lu Sheng interrupted, "The most important reason is that her mother has silently suppressed her Xingshan Pharmacy for many years in collusion with the Chen family." Su couldn't take it anymore and slammed her hand on the table, yelling loudly, "What? Mr. Lu, do you have any basis for what you're saying? You can't just talk nonsense." Lu Sheng said in a tone that further piqued her curiosity, "Whether it's true or not, you can go back and ask your father, Haji, and it will be clear." He secretly rejoiced. The quality of the meat was very good, the nutritional components were high, and the energy provided was quite satisfactory. Hearing Lu Sheng say that, Su fell silent and thought, "My mother left with my father when I was 2 years old, and moreover, after so many years, I haven't seen them even once. So cruel to the end." Thinking of this, Su gritted her teeth. The He family's Xingshan Pharmacy is failing. It really began after my mother left. When my father started taking over the store, she began to recall things from the past. Back then, it seemed that the He family had a branch going bankrupt almost every day, maintaining for a few months, and even if my father was not able to manage well, it wasn't that terrible. Suddenly, Lu Sheng asked a question that took her by surprise. "Is it that every time the cooperative projects are concluded, they always disappear without a trace?" Lu Sheng continued to eat, but also saying, "Miss He, don't blame me for digging too deeply into the details." But Lu Sheng's words made Su think. Branches of the store went bankrupt, cooperation stopped. The strange events did not end there. If what Lu Sheng said is true, that her mother is playing tricks, putting that aside, Su said to Lu Sheng, "What Mr. Lu said, I will verify myself. Now let's talk about cooperation." After finishing 40 plates of steak, Lu Sheng agreed with her. "All right, I will be responsible for providing the prescription and the corresponding technical guidance. You all at Xingshan Pharmacy will be responsible for production and sales. Regarding the final profits," Lu Sheng said seriously, "I want 9 parts. Upon hearing this, Su was very displeased. 9 parts? Why don't you just say you want the whole thing?" Lu Sheng propped his hands on the table and joked, "I thought about it, but I was afraid you wouldn't agree. It really is provoking others too much." Su began to negotiate. 6 parts. "At most, I will give you 7 parts. Of course, Lu Sheng would not agree. He continued, "I want 2 more parts. That is a must. 1 part is to ensure a long-term collaboration in the future." At this point, he stood up and declared, "Moreover, 1 part is for the service I provide to Miss He in handling some troubles." Hearing this, Su questioned, "What do you mean?" Lu Sheng replied, "The He family has been pressured by the Chen family from the capital for many years." Lu Sheng began to draw her in. "Doesn't Miss He have any thoughts on this?" Then his eyes turned emerald green, providing her with an example. Revenge, reclaim everything that belongs to you. Lu Sheng used his ability to manipulate the droplets of water from the spilled cup, causing them to hover in the air. He asked, Missy, take a look at this. I believe you understand what it is. Seeing the droplets of wine suspended in front of her, Su was extremely shocked. She asked him, are you a spirit thought master? In her heart, she thought a second-tier martial artist at only 18 years old with the top innate martial arts talent in Baihei City and the legendary innate ability of a spirit thought master. Even though she was not a martial artist, Lu Sheng quickly condensed the water back into the cup. Su appeared to understand this well and recognized the quality of this power. After a moment, Lu Sheng asked, Miss He, you mentioned that term earlier. It seems that you do not believe that the formula was developed by me alone, right? Su hesitated and asked, could it be that you have someone behind you? Lu Sheng complimented her, smart, so one part of the deal is for me, and there is also a force supporting me behind the scenes. He tried to instill confidence in Su. Is there any business more profitable than this in the world, Miss He? Su stood there with a heart full of confusion. If everything were as true as Lu Sheng said, then sooner or later, she would have to face the Chen family. She stared at the glass of water in her hand, silently thinking, even if I haven't held any grudges or thoughts of revenge in the past 20 years, the other party will definitely not let me go. Because the prescription that Lu Sheng and I collaborated on is the best excuse to take action. It's a sin to be nostalgic, he explained. Here it refers to people who possess something valuable often being envied and watched. Su gritted her teeth and glanced at Lu Sheng, thinking, oh my god, this extraordinary innate ability, plus Lu Sheng's previous display of mindset, dealing with people and scheming. Su said, all right, I agree to give you 90% of the profits. Hearing this, Lu Sheng was overjoyed, took out a USB, and said to her, this contains the prescription for Lingko left blood soup. Su happily accepted it and replied, I hope everything Mr. Lu promised will come true. I will definitely make it happen. In her heart, Su had a belief. I wonder how much progress Lu Sheng will make by that day. Once the matter was settled, Lu Sheng waved his hand and said, Miss He, please go to the Alchemist Association to register the patent. If you have any questions during the drug preparation process, feel free to ask me at any time. As for other matters, I'm not concerned. I trust your abilities. Also, recently, I would like to borrow your potion preparation room for a bit. Please arrange a time. I'm full now, and if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Happy cooperation. With that, he closed the door and walked out. After Lu Sheng left, Su let out a sigh and thought to herself, I thought Lu Sheng was just a naive student who would awkwardly sign a contract. It turns out that the person I'm facing is not an 18-year-old high school student, but rather resembles a high-ranking figure. She looked at the glass of water in front of her, filled with anxiety. Even her address changed from Miss He to Lady. While lost in thought, the server spoke up, Hello, miss. May I ask if you're ready to settle the bill? At that moment, she glanced at the pile of plates on the table, all of which Lu Sheng had eaten, and felt extremely uncomfortable. He was the one who ate everything but didn't pay. What could she do? So, Su asked, all right, how much is it? The server quickly calculated the bill and told her 90 high-quality portions. The total is $11,520. I'll round down the odd amount. The total is $11,500. Hearing this was like a bolt from the blue for Su. She pointed at the pile of plates and asked, what? How did that add up to 90 portions? Clearly, you only brought 40 portions. Seeing that Su didn't believe her, the server quickly held up the bill and said, the gentleman just now had 40 portions here and then took 50 portions to go, saying he wanted his family to try it. Cash or credit card? Su trembled at the thought of using her card to pay. Her hands shook and her eyes brimmed with tears. Anger filled her heart as she thought of two words, Lu Sheng. Meanwhile, the server remained cheerful about making a good sale. Thank you for your patronage. Scene changes to Lu Sheng's home. Ting Tong, come here. Lu Sheng, holding 50 steaks, stands at the door, leaving his mother speechless. What is this? Lu Sheng replies, these are all premium steaks, Mom. You don't have to cook dinner tonight. Let's eat these. His mother, taking the steaks, is frozen, each box containing one piece. Isn't this food from a high-end restaurant? Are all these boxes filled with steak? If you want to eat, just tell me going to a restaurant is expensive, and you get so little. How much money have you spent on all of this? Lu Sheng gives a mischievous smile and explains, it's not my money. A wealthy friend invited me. She is very rich. I said I didn't need it, but she insisted. While Su is paying, she keeps singing. Hearing this, Lu Sheng's mother feels relieved and carries the steaks inside, saying that's fine, but don't do this again. Even though she invited you, taking so much isn't good. By the way, Teacher Zhang from school has come to our house a few times and has asked about your condition. That teacher is really very nice. Lu Sheng thinks in silence. Teacher Zhang, it's been a long time since he has been to school. I'll go tomorrow. The next morning at Baidi High School, in Teacher Zhang Jingguo's office, a knock is heard and he immediately says, "Come in." As soon as he opened his mouth to ask someone, Lu Sheng caught his eye. He unexpectedly called out, "Lu Sheng." Lu Sheng, holding a potted plant, replied, "Teacher Zhang, it's been a long time." Lu Sheng happily gave it to Teacher Zhang and said, "I remember last time I broke your potted plant, so I bought a new one for you." Zhang Jingguo, taken aback, awkwardly said, "Oh, you really didn't have to be so careful." Looking at Lu Sheng's confident demeanor, he remarked that it was not surprising in such a short time she made others feel that she was no longer the same. Zhang Jingguo invited Lu Sheng inside. "All right, come in first and then we'll talk." Zhang Jingguo lit a cigarette and began to speak. The school was about to stop teaching. After this meeting, he thought he might only be able to see her on TV in the future. He asked Lu Sheng, "By the way, you have any plans next?" Without hesitation, Lu Sheng replied, "I'm preparing to audition for Revealing the Star, then I will go to the Spirit Thought Master examination." This statement left Zhang Jingguo speechless in shock. He stood up abruptly and exclaimed, "Huh? You said Revealing the Star, Spirit Thought Master?" Lu Sheng calmly answered, "Yes, the training officer from the training camp recommended me, and it was at the training camp that I discovered my innate ability as a Spirit Thought Master." Zhang Jingguo sat down with a forced smile, but this is really... Suddenly, he turned to place a hand on Lu Sheng's shoulder, speaking happily. "Great, the teacher has never taught you anything, so do whatever you want. Create a sky that belongs to you. I will always encourage you." Lu Sheng replied cheerfully, "Thank you, Teacher Zhang." A moment later, Lu Sheng went home, and the two waved goodbye to each other as if promising to meet again. Zhang Jingguo stood there silently thinking, "I really misjudged. This kid is not only the pride of Bahi High School, but has also become the pride of all humanity." In an 11th grade classroom, a passionate teacher was lecturing. Stubborn and easy to be free, difficult to be truthful. The translation is wild and mysterious. The tone is urgent and static. The sentence is not poetic. The only thing is that it is not true. The truth is transmitted. After finishing the poem, the teacher calmly lifted his glasses, angrily slammed the book onto the desk, his hands tense as he shouted loudly, "Wake up. Everyone wake up. Focus right now." He rapped sharply on the blackboard, scolding the students. "I've already told you, do not underestimate the results of cultural studies. I know many of you in this class have registered to take the Vu Dai exam, but don't forget that the results of cultural studies also count. It's possible that if you miss 1 point, you will fail the Vu Dai University entrance. 1 point, if converted into the value of effort, could cost you several weeks, even months of training. But if it's about cultural studies, that's a matter of major topics." Chok Singji sat in class, yawning repeatedly, bored, and asked, "When will class be over? This is so boring." Then Chok Singji turned to Chai Ming and said, "Hey, Kai Ming, want to go to the internet cafe after school? I'm about to reach platinum rank." Chai Ming, writing quickly, refused. "No, you guys go ahead. I'm enrolling in a martial arts sprint class, and I'll have to study more after school." Chok Singji, surprised, said, "Wow, what's up with you lately? Working so hard doesn't seem like you at all." Just then, the teacher looked at them with a piercing gaze and shouted, "Chok Singji, Liu Kaiming, what are you whispering about? Stand up." The two stood up nervously. The teacher continued, "Hey, you two, you don't take my words seriously, do you?" Suddenly, a voice from the classroom door called out, "Teacher Hong, I'm here." Everyone in the class gasped when they heard that voice. Outside the door, Lu Sheng was smiling and waved, saying, "Hello, everyone. Long time no see." The class erupted into a lively buzz. "Oh my God, it's Lu Sheng. Is he back to school?" I thought we wouldn't see him again. I heard Lu Sheng was taken in by the Elder Association as the last apprentice and has been training hard every day in the association to prepare for breaking through to the Master Realm. Liu Kaiming spoke up. "I also heard that the mayor wanted to marry his daughter to Lu Sheng, but he turned it down to focus on martial arts. Get his autograph. It's so rare to see Lu Sheng. We have to get him to sign something to frame and hang on the wall." Teacher Han hurried to the door to wait for Lu Sheng. "Classmate Lu Sheng, you're here." Lu Sheng looked at him and replied, "I want to attend the final culture class. Is that okay?" Hearing this, Teacher Han happily said, "Sure, of course, that's fine." He quickly turned back and told the class, "All right, students, open your books." Teacher Hong, in high spirits, said, "Hey, let's start the class." Lu Sheng walked to his seat and opened his book. Chok Singji said to Liu Kaiming, "Really? I can actually attend class with Lu Sheng. The atmosphere is incredible. Is he really in our class?" Also, I heard he is already a second-level martial artist. Liu Taiming looked at Lu Sheng and thought, Lu Sheng, he has really changed a lot. Ring, ring, ring. The bell rang to signal the end of class. Teacher Hong breathed a sigh of relief and closed the book. All right, class dismissed. Lu Sheng stood up, turned his back to the class, and smiled, saying to everyone, goodbye, everyone. I won't forget you. After saying that, Lu Sheng turned to Liu Taiming, while everyone continued to discuss among themselves. For the first time, he felt it was such an honor to be in the same class as someone. I swear I will definitely pass the Wu Dai exam. That's right, me too. I can't let the pride of being in the same class with Lu Sheng down. At this moment, Liu Taiming looked at Lu Sheng in a daze when suddenly Lu Sheng put his arm around his shoulder and encouraged him. Keep it up, Taiming. If you're free, let's rank up together. Upon hearing this, Liu Taiming was emotional, tears welling up in his eyes. Looking at Lu Sheng's back as he left, Liu Taiming made a resolution. Even if I have to risk my life or tire myself to death, I will pass the Wu Dai exam. I must succeed. Returning home, Lu Sheng sat down at his desk. He typed on the keyboard while thinking. He had told his Su So to buy all the necessary ingredients to prepare the Lin Coat left blood medicine and nourish the marrow. These two types of tonics are particularly effective for training tendons and bones, and they are quite expensive. If he had a considerable amount, it would surely be enough for him to use until level 4. Next was the issue of weapons for the Spirit Thought Master. Before the official Spirit Thought Master assessment, he couldn't go to the Hammer Crystal to buy weapons. Before revealing the star selection, he needed to make use of the time to undergo the Spirit Thought Master assessment first. Otherwise, each time he wanted to buy something, he would have to bother Don King Su, which could easily expose his secret. Then he wanted to check the price list, but he was completely shocked by what appeared. It stated Sword Timeless Argument, priced at $37.5 million, flying shuttle across the silver sky at $29.5 million. Lu Sheng was astonished. Sword Timeless Argument and flying shuttle across the silver sky. This price was unbelievable. He thought that the reward of $5 million would be enough for him to spend extravagantly, but it turned out to be very little. Lu Sheng closed his eyes and crossed his arms, pondering. If he were to create the Sword Timeless Argument and the flying shuttle across the silver sky, it would need nearly 9,100 grams of solid iron. Each blade would require more than a pound, so over $5 million would not be enough, not to mention the other supporting materials. He wasn't just crafting a single blade. Moreover, his mental strength quality was superior to that of an average person, making ordinary solid iron fundamentally insufficient. He needed thicker silver of better quality to forge weapons, but the price would be more than 10 times higher. The money in his pocket couldn't even cover a single component. Lu Sheng placed his hand on his mouth, contemplating. There was no other way. He could only do it himself. Lu Sheng opened the drawer. Inside was a medal and a rolled-up piece of paper. He picked up the paper and thought. Fortunately, he had found a resource distribution map for combat materials from 300 years of martial arts in the Fire Sea Resource Vault. He finally had a chance to use it. When Lu Sheng unfolded the map, he discovered that an unmined thick silver vein was located at New Two Mountain. With a confident expression, Lu Sheng thought he would go mine the untouched thick silver vein. Then he could use it to find a forging master to create weapons. Furthermore, if he found a lot of thick silver or solid iron, he could sell it for money, a single arrow hitting 2 targets. After he prepared enough nourish the marrow with his Su, he could set off to New Two Mountain to gather materials. A week later at Xingshan Pharmacy, his Su paced back and forth in the room. She took out her phone and irritably said, "Why hasn't that kid Lu Sheng arrived yet? What time is it already?" Just then, Lu Sheng walked in wearing a lab coat and said, "I'm really sorry to have kept you waiting." His Su angrily retorted, "I thought you forgot the way here." Lu Sheng put on the lab coat, looking quite serious as he said, "There was a little setback. Had all the necessary materials been prepared?" Seeing Lu Sheng like that made his Su blush. She shyly replied, I've prepared everything as you said." Lu Sheng put on gloves. In front of him was a table full of various materials. He asked his Su, how much did all these materials cost? His Su answered, "About $200,000. Lu Sheng picked up an herb and said with interest, not bad quality. Write up the invoice first, then deduct the profit later." Lu Sheng then put on a mask and continued, "Well, I must get started now. May I ask Missy to step outside?" Upon hearing this, his Su pretended to be annoyed. Fine. As his Su went outside, she glanced back at Lu Sheng and thought to herself, the business of selling Linko left blood thrusters in the market hasn't even started yet, and I haven't earned a single cent, but the money for the materials I bought for Lu Sheng has already eaten up nearly $1 million. Su was closing the door while thinking. Fortunately, the materials Lu Sheng gave were very complete. She was sure she would coordinate the Lin Ko left blood thing perfectly. Was he researching a new drug? All week, he had come to the coordination room every day. How many secrets was he still hiding? 3 hours later, while Su was waiting outside, a voice spoke up. All right, Gissy, the formulation is complete. Lu Sheng said to her, I need to be away for 2 days. Don't worry, after this period, I will return the initial capital of the Lin Ko left blood thing to you. Su turned her face away and replied coldly, Yeah, I see. Lu Sheng is teasing me. What an annoying girl. Then Su watched Lu Sheng as she quickly ran to the curtain of the preparation room, pulled it back, and stepped inside. Su suddenly exclaimed, Got it. In front of her are test tubes of all colors. Su picked up a blue test tube, her expression tense as she thought, indeed, a new drug. She didn't know what that kid was planning. She had tried the effects of this type of drug before, and it was extremely powerful. The side effects could directly temper bones. The tonic that could temper bones sold on the market was level 4 to 5 tonics, costing several $1 million, while Lu Sheng had formulated it using materials worth only hundreds of thousands of dollars. What kind of profit was that? Su frowned and thought. Moreover, his backpack definitely contained a lot of new drugs. Suddenly, a blonde boy ran up to her. Missy, I've done what you asked me to, he said. But during my observation of the cameras, I didn't see anything at all. All the cameras were malfunctioning. Lu Sheng came out and returned to normal. What? The surveillance seemed broken, and it only resumed functioning after Lu Sheng left. Su helplessly said, Ha! I knew it would be like this. In front of a spirit thought master, this little trick really is just embarrassing oneself. Then Su focused on the blue test tube in her hand and then threw it into the bin. Different now, she said. Forget it. Let's just concentrate on cooperating with him. No matter what, he is now the hope for the revival of the He family. The scene shifts to Q Ming Chang, a place with magnificent hills. On the winding mountain path, a bus was driving. The tour guide on the bus said to everyone, Dear guests, our destination is the Xiaolin camp in a remote area of New Tu Mountain, a beautiful landscape far from urban dwellings and one of the 5 A-level scenic areas in Dongning province. You will experience the warmth, simplicity, and folk customs of the people living in Xiaolin camp. Taste traditional dishes with unique flavors, admire the breathtaking scenery of New Tu Mountain, and even have the opportunity to buy exquisite and mysterious traditional handicrafts from Xiaolin camp. A woman wearing a wrinkled red shirt grimaced and said, Traditional handicrafts, are we really being forced to buy those? Ha! In such a remote corner of a mountain, where will we stay tonight? There must be insects on the mountain, right? The tour guide replied, Ha, dear sister, we are a well-known travel company and there is absolutely no way we would force any fees. Rest assured, we will be staying in a local home at the camp tonight and conditions are extremely good with air conditioning and television available. In the vehicle, Lu Sheng sat in a corner admiring the scenery outside the window. He thought to himself that this week he had made a total of 93 jars of Nourish the Marrow, which should be enough for him to use for a while. However, this place was really remote, probably a hidden silver mine that hadn't been discovered yet, with the potential for exclusive occupation. While he was thinking, suddenly a yellow ball rolled over and interrupted Lu Sheng's thoughts. A little girl with light brown hair ran to pick up the ball. She happily said to Lu Sheng, Hey, big brother, will you play with me? Immediately after, a beautiful young woman hugged the little girl and said, Stop playing, don't bother others. The little girl replied, Yes, I will sit still. Then the young woman turned to Lu Sheng and said, I'm really sorry. Lu Sheng nodded and replied, It's okay. Suddenly, Lu Sheng's eyes widened in surprise. He saw a boy wearing glasses sitting next to the mother and daughter, laughing and joking. He was surrounded by a purple aura. Lu Sheng smiled with delight, radiating a green aura. He thought to himself, Interesting, I'm not the only spirit thought master on this trip. On the tourist bus to New Tu Mountain, Chang Dan was constantly waving her hand to create a breeze to cool herself down. She complained, So boring, and it's so hot I could die. What did I do wrong to end up in this cursed place with you? And there are still 3 days and 2 nights left. How am I supposed to endure this? Lin Si-san, sitting next to Zhang Dan, was completely the opposite. Despite the sweltering weather, she remained calm. Holding a fan, she said, Zhang Dan, it's not like I forced you to come here. You wanted to come. Hearing this, Zhang Dan got angry, snatched Lin Si-san's fan, and shouted, Well then, give me a break. Isn't it because you're upset about your love life? I'm afraid you'll have negative thoughts coming to this deep mountain and dense forest. You really don't understand the goodwill of others. Seeing Zhang Dan so agitated, Lin Si-san quickly spoke up to mediate. All right, you're my best friend. Don't worry, I'm not that weak. It's just that I haven't traveled in a long time, and I want to take this opportunity to relax a bit. But this travel agency is really inadequate. However, the scenery here is quite beautiful. You won't regret it. Zhang Dan felt dissatisfied and replied indifferently, "Oh God, I won't regret it." Suddenly, a cheerful laugh from a little girl echoed behind Lin Si-san and Zhang Dan's seats. The adorable girl was playing joyfully, striking the ball with her hand and saying, "Ha, catch my ball." Opposite them was our main character. Lu Sheng caught the ball with both hands and praised the girl. Nice throw. Then he flashed a charming smile. Zhang Dan turned to look at this scene and was utterly captivated. Her eyes sparkled as she gazed at Lu Sheng. Lin Si-san, sitting next to her, was bewildered, not understanding what was happening. Suddenly, the ball was hit off course, causing the girl to panic and exclaim, "Ha!" The ball flew straight to Zhang Dan. She quickly raised her hand to catch it, feeling both surprised and tense as she said, "Please catch it for me." She then looked at Lu Sheng and said, "Catch this ball." Lu Sheng easily caught it with one hand, holding the ball and looking at Zhang Dan with a sincere smile. "Thank you." Zhang Dan, mesmerized by Lu Sheng's handsome looks, felt her face suddenly flush as she shyly replied, "Don't mention it." Seeing Zhang Dan's shy expression, Lin Si-san teased, "Ha ha, look at your love-struck face." After 2 hours on the bus, everyone finally arrived at New 2 Mountain. Zhang Dan was glancing at the surrounding mountain scenery while commenting, "This isn't just an ordinary mountainous area, right? Is it really considered one of the 5 classed as scenic spots?" Contrary to Zhang Dan's criticism, Lin Si-san was not surprised at all. While looking at the map, she said, "It doesn't look too bad. I heard there's a waterfall here as well. We'll find out when we go up the mountain tomorrow." Although Zhang Dan didn't like it, she was happy as long as it made Lin Si-san happy. She was continuously observing everything when suddenly Zhang Dan saw Lu Sheng and her face lit up with joy as she exclaimed, "He's over there." As Lu Sheng just stepped off the bus, the little girl he had played with earlier ran up, grabbed his hand, and asked, "Can we play together again tomorrow?" Seeing the girl, Lu Sheng knelt down and patted her head, saying, "Sure, if I have time tomorrow, I'll play with you." The little girl was overjoyed and replied with a smile, "Hee, that's great." Seeing the two of them chatting happily, Zhang Dan stepped closer to join the conversation. "Little sister, can I and my brother play with you tomorrow?" Behind Zhang Dan, Lin Si-san was carrying bags, looking at her best friend Zhang Dan with a disgusted expression. When the little girl heard Zhang Dan's suggestion to play together, she didn't like it. She took a step forward, hugged Lu Sheng's arm, and playfully stuck out her tongue while refusing. "No way, you're a bad sister for stealing my friend. I don't want to play with you. I only want him." Everyone was taken aback by her words. Suddenly, a voice called out to the girl, Nan, come here quickly. We need to go to the camp now." Nan looked towards her mother, but continued to cling to Lu Sheng's arm. After that, Nan took her mother's hand and left, not forgetting to say goodbye to Lu Sheng. At the same time, right at the spot with Lin Si-san and Zhang Dan smiled on the outside but was extremely angry on the inside. "That girl, I don't want to play with you either." Seeing her friend like that, Lin Si-san raised her hand to her mouth and continued to laugh. Lu Sheng saw Zhang Dan upset and spoke up, "Kids say things without thinking. Don't pay attention to it." Hearing Lu Sheng talk to her, all of Zhang Dan's anger melted away. "Ha ha, how could I get mad at a child?" Then shyly, she picked up her phone and said to Lu Sheng, "By the way, handsome, can we be friends?" Lu Sheng was a bit surprised to hear Zhang Dan say that. After thinking for a moment, he smiled and agreed. "Sure." A ting sound rang out along with a notification that they had added each other. The 3 of them, Lin Si-san, Zhang Dan, and Lu Sheng, all added each other's contact information to their phones. After successfully befriending Lu Sheng, Zhang Dan saw his name and praised it. Lu Sheng, that name sounds really impressive. Even though she was infatuated with handsome guys, she didn't forget her main task of cheering Lin Si-san up. Zhang Dan hurriedly pulled her best friend away and happily told Lu Sheng, "All right, handsome, see you next time." Zhang Dan looked at her phone screen, smiling so broadly that she couldn't close her mouth. "You don't need to add my handsome friend. Hee, I originally thought this free travel would be really boring, but who knew it would turn out to be so interesting." Lin Si-san saw Zhang Dan so happy and felt happy as well. As long as you're happy, that's what matters. Lu Sheng, who was behind them, watched their figures leave, and the friendly smile on his face suddenly vanished. His whole face looked extremely terrifying now. Lu Sheng recalled the people on the bus and thought, how interesting. This trip not only had a rare second-level spirit thought master, but also encountered 2 second-level martial artists. Thinking of Nan Nan's father, Lu Sheng was certain, but that spirit thought master still hadn't discovered his identity. At most, he could only sense that he had practiced martial arts. Lu Sheng looked at the streams of power around him and suddenly pondered, after forming the master will, I can freely control the dispersal and retraction of my spiritual power. As long as I don't actively release it, ordinary people won't notice that I have powerful spiritual power. I just don't know if there are any martial artists stronger than me in this mountain. Thinking of the others on the bus just now, Lu Sheng decided that regardless of the others' purposes for coming to New Tu Mountain, he wouldn't let them obstruct him. At that moment, Lu Sheng saw a strange creature in front of him, and without hesitation, he eliminated it. Then I will just have to crush it. At the same time, on the highway, hundreds of kilometers away, a luxurious white car was speeding at an extremely high speed. Inside that car, a man named Wu King held a glass of wine in his hand, looking at the person kneeling at his feet. To his right sat a woman dressed in a red tumpao, sitting quietly. Wu King swirled the glass of wine in his hand and asked, "So, have you found the whereabouts of Tang Mu Lin?" The man kneeling in front quickly looked up and replied, "We found him, sir. He is in Tu Ming Cheng, New Tu Mountain, with his wife and children. He must be planning to hide in the mountains." Hearing this, Wu King glanced out the window, his face scrunching up as he said, "Oh, Tang Mu Lin is indeed a clever one, isn't he? If he hides deep in the forest and refuses to come out, I really have no way to drag him out." The man kneeling below, hearing Wu King's remarks, hurriedly said, "Your Excellency, rest assured we have sent people to follow them. Even if Tang Mu Lin wants to become a mountain hermit, I assure you he will find the rat hole he is hiding in." Wu King laughed heartily at those words. "Ha ha ha! Good, well done. You only need to focus on monitoring him. 2 level 4 martial artists like you are no match for him. Once we reach New Tu Mountain, I will personally deal with him." The man kneeling on the ground understood Wu King's intention and responded, "Yes." Throughout the conversation, the only girl in the car did not move or make any sound. It was quite strange. Wu King thought of the moment when he caught Tang Mu Lin and felt delighted. He tilted his head back and emptied the glass of wine in his hand, not caring as the wine spilled over. "Tang Mu Lin, don't blame me for being ruthless after you started it. If I don't kill you, others will think Wu King is easy to bully." After finishing the glass of wine, Wu King's face showed an extremely terrifying expression. He thought, then some foolish kids will come to provoke me. Then Wu King extended the glass of wine towards the girl who had been sitting silently. Only then did she move, lifting her head up. Next, a purple liquid identical to the wine Wu King had just drunk began to pour out from both her eye sockets and her mouth. It flowed out in increasing amounts, pooling in the glass that Wu King held. After taking a sip, Wu King remarked, being infused with the innocence of love and the unique essence of a 28-year-old youth, it turns out to be so sweet and enchanting." The purple liquid continued to flow out, making the girl's beautiful face look extremely terrifying. Looking at the picture in his hand, Wu King said, "Tang Mu Lin even brought his daughter along." In the photo was a scene of a small family, 3 people very happy, making others unwilling to disrupt it. But Wu King was different. He was extremely delighted. "Ha ha! It seems I've got an additional toy now." Nan was taken to a room by her parents. The little girl walked around the room in amazement, unable to stop expressing her surprise. Her mother, seeing her so joyful and jumping around, said, "Run slowly. Be careful not to fall." Nan's father, Tang Mu Lin, was looking around very cautiously. He quickly activated his ability, which quickly enveloped the room and even the entire building. After checking, he said to his wife, "This room is very clean. There's no funny business." His wife replied, "You're being too cautious. Even if Wu King has great power, how could he possibly reach this New Tu Mountain?" Tang Mu Lin frowned, showing his concern. "It's better to be careful. After all, we're taking you and Nan with us. It doesn't hurt to be extra cautious. Don't forget we're currently on the run. Wu King is a well-known 3rd-level spirit thought master. He's narrow-minded, and if he has a grudge, he will definitely retaliate. Anyone who offends him ends up dead." Tang Mu Lin put his arm around his wife to reassure her. "I just hope this time we can smoothly escape from his pursuit. Your father has been hiding for more than a year and a half, so he should be fine now. If he really does chase us here, your father and older brother, both at level 2, can join forces. Who knows, they might even be able to contend with him." Tang Mu Lin's wife showed her concern upon hearing this. "I hope so. It's been a long time since I last saw Dad. I wonder if he's doing well. His martial arts cultivation is not weak at all. He's still a top-level spirit thought master. Tang Mu Lin held her gently to comfort her. He might be at level 3 now. With his strong physique, he shouldn't be sick at all. Don't worry, I will definitely not let them harm you too. Saying that, he hugged his wife, leaving Nan Nan looking out the window in confusion. In another place, Lu Sheng was also using a similar ability as Tang Mu Lin to assess his surroundings. His power was far superior to Tang Mu Lin's, quickly enveloping the entire city. From people moving about on the streets to someone using binoculars to observe something in the woods, he could see it all. Lu Sheng looked outside and thought, except for that person monitoring, there's nothing unusual, but he doesn't pose a threat to me, so I'll just ignore him. Lu Sheng reached in his pocket and took out a vial, opened it, and took out a pill, which he promptly swallowed. With the support of the pill, the progress of cultivating the immortal golden body was indeed much faster. At this rate, it might not take 2 months for him to completely finish the first stage of cultivating the immortal golden body, generating inner energy, and officially stepping into martial artist level 4. The phone suddenly rang with a ting-ting sound. In the cheerful family group chat, 2 messages came in. Be careful when going out alone, pay attention to wearing warm clothes, don't eat too much cold food to avoid a stomachache. Another voice message was sent. Reading the message, Lu Sheng smiled and thought, I'm not a child anymore. This time, the notification for a new message arrived, and it was from Lu King. Are you going out to play again? Huh? Yan Yan is back at school today and even asked me if you're meeting up with someone. She excitedly replied, tell me the truth, are you two in love? Along with that, she sent an image of a threatening-looking apple holding a gun. Teased by his sister, Lu Sheng began typing furiously. Focus on your martial arts instead of worrying about other people's affairs. Remember to take the supplements I left for you every day. If when I come back, your blood value hasn't broken through to 1.3, don't blame me for teaching you a lesson. The message was sent with a cat face pointing directly. Lu Sheng sat down on the bed, put his phone down, and lay back, thinking he would test the results of his cultivation from the past few days. Lu Sheng lay down and closed his eyes, immediately entering the dreamscape. Not bad, 10 days of Heavenly Caves comprehends master techniques. The zombies charging at him were easily defeated by Lu Sheng, forming the initial concept of master will. Currently, no one could impede him. Lu Sheng delivered a devastating blow that exploded a whole area. The zombie was hurled away, its entire body charred black. Suddenly, sharp-eyed shards formed a path out. Lu Sheng stopped upon seeing this. He wondered, it seems there's something over there. The aura is too strong. A pair of legs stepped out, a person with curly hair wearing a helmet with a metal mask. She brandished a spear, her surroundings enveloped in a blue hue of ice. The scene looked incredibly powerful. An ice mask rushed towards Lu Sheng. As soon as he saw it, Lu Sheng recognized it as a master-level zombie. Ice fragments began to float. Lu Sheng was disoriented. His mental vision suddenly vanished. The zombie had disappeared, and his spirit sensing was activated. Warnings of danger surrounded him. Lu Sheng panicked and asked himself, what exactly is the danger of this avalanche? At this moment, the master-level female zombie began to attack from above, charging toward Lu Sheng with her lance. Her power surrounded the lance. Lu Sheng then realized that her attack was a master-level skill. An image of Lu Sheng appeared but was split in 2. Her immense power surged downward, looking incredibly terrifying. Lu Sheng woke up, drenched in sweat, his expression one of panic. It hurts too much. He clutched his chest, grimacing in agony, his body feeling as if it was truly being torn apart. Is this the feeling of dying in a dream? Lu Sheng woke up in the dream, his hands tightly gripping the part of his chest that had just been ripped open, his face drenched in sweat, gasping for breath and reassuring himself. Fortunately, this is a dreamscape. It's all an illusion. He sat up, sighed, and relaxed. If not, my life would end so simply in there. He cradled his head, remembering the scene of being killed in one blow, his face showing fear. At that moment, I used all my strength to use my mental power to block it, but I couldn't withstand a single attack. The power of her strike was incomparable to everything he had faced before. I always thought that exploring the dreamscape was relatively smooth. Even those times, entering high-level map areas could rely on my quick thinking to control those stupid high-level monsters. Lu Sheng began to sit in a meditation posture, calculating. The dreamscape is not the paradise I imagined. In the ruins left after the civilization's downfall, only blood and fire can truly create a savior. Lu Sheng uneasily thought about that girl. That female master, she is truly powerful. Her fighting instinct far exceeds that of Shi Sheng Ning. She must be an extremely strong master-level expert, perhaps even an 8th-level grandmaster. Just thinking about it made Lu Sheng break out in a cold sweat. He looked at his hand, his expression a mix of fear and excitement. That brilliant glacier might represent the will of the female martial arts master. If he could obtain it, he could hardly imagine if he had reacted immediately in a fully awakened state, relying on his control over martial arts and the master technique. Perhaps he would have been able to compete with her a bit, or at least try again. Thinking that, Lu Sheng dove right in, sitting upright in meditation. He intended to enter the dreamscape, but suddenly he felt a severe headache. He was stunned as he held his head. Could it be that he couldn't enter the dreamscape because he had died in there and now needed to wait for the time to recover? It seemed he wouldn't be able to enter the dreamscape space again tonight. As he was rubbing his temples due to the headache, his phone suddenly vibrated. Lu Sheng picked up his phone to check and found a message from Zhang Dan. The texts were full of flirtation. "Hey handsome, are you back in your room? Are you out collecting stuff? Do you want to go together tomorrow? I am an official martial artist and can protect you." She sent a funny picture of a bird wearing glasses to seem trustworthy. "Hey handsome, it's dinner time. Do you want to eat together?" Hoo-hoo! Why aren't you replying to me? Are you not checking your phone? Accompanied by an image of a dog with sparkling eyes. Lu Sheng looked at the stupid messages on his phone and seemed a bit annoyed. He said he somewhat regretted adding her as a friend, but glancing at his grumbling stomach, he decided to let it go. Never mind, just go out and grab something to eat. As he entered the dining hall of the tourist hostel, Lu Sheng was called out. Lu Sheng! It turned out to be Zhang Dan waving at him inside. This way, this way. In front, there was a girl named Nan calling along with Tang Mu Lin. "Hey, brother." Lu Sheng smiled and waved back at the girl. Tang Mu Lin nodded politely at him as well. Lu Sheng didn't pay much attention and moved to an empty table where Zhang Dan and Lin Si-san were sitting. Just as he sat down, Zhang Dan ran over and casually asked, "Why are you sitting with us? It's more lively when there are more people eating together, right?" Lin Si-san looked at her friend with 3 parts helplessness and 7 parts amusement. Lu Sheng smiled wryly. "Ha ha, haven't you two eaten yet?" Hearing his question, Zhang Dan cheerfully replied, "Not yet." But at the same time, Lin Si-san said in unison with Zhang Dan, "We have eaten." These two close friends are really in sync, huh? Zhang Dan angrily turned to look at her, but quickly turned back to smile and say to Lu Sheng, "I was in the mood to eat just now, only had a little bit, but now I'm hungry again, just in time to eat with you." Lin Si-san teased, "Just looking at it makes me feel full." What you mean is that you're complimenting Lu Sheng so much that you're already full and don't need to eat. Ha ha! Over here, Nan, wanting to eat with Lu Sheng, looked at her father with shining eyes and said, "Dad, can I no eat with that big brother?" Seeing this, her mother wiped her mouth with a napkin while comforting her. "Isn't eating here like that too?" Nan, seeing her mother say that, looked at her with a pout, "But I want to eat with him." Tang Mu Lin smiled gently at the little girl. "Ha ha, go ahead, but don't disturb others." Hearing this, Nan jumped up, her eyes shining like stars. "Thank you, Dad." In contrast to Tang Mu Lin, the mother was feeling frustrated watching Nan excitedly take her bowl and head over to Lu Sheng's table. She scolded her husband. "Why are you letting the girl go to a stranger's table? Look at our situation now." Tang Mu Lin leisurely took a sip of soup and comforted his wife. "You say I'm too cautious, but I think you're the one overreacting." He continued, "I've scanned the area with my spiritual power, and everyone here is just tourists. There's no threat at all." Nan approached Lu Sheng's table, and seeing his enthusiasm, Tang Mu Lin praised him. "That guy has a decent personality. His eyes are very innocent. He's not a bad person." Lu Sheng's pale face was also closely observed by his father, noting his slightly unsteady walk and unstable aura. Even as a martial artist, his strength must be ordinary. Nan didn't forget to stick out her tongue to tease, while Zhang Dan was frustrated but could do nothing about it. Nan's father also added, "Besides, those two girls are just students. At their age, they are already second-level martial artists, so their innate ability isn't bad." Tang Mu Lin wiped his mouth and confidently said, "Within my observation range, even a single thought can lead to death. Nothing unexpected will happen." His wife, upon hearing this, also let out a sigh of relief. "Oh, it seems I was too worried." At Lu Sheng's table, a waitress brought out a table full of food along with a stack of buns. "Your food is all ready. Please enjoy." Nan and Zhang Dan gaped at the pile of food Lu Sheng had ordered, astonished as they asked him, "Handsome guy, do you eat this much?" Lu Sheng replied lightly, I've been eating quite a lot lately." He casually reached over to grab 2 pig-shaped buns for Nan. Seeing this, Nan excitedly exclaimed, "Wow, so cute." Lu Sheng smiled and looked at Nan. "Sister, let's see who finishes first." Hearing this, Nan's face showed determination. Okay. The competition began, and Nan had just taken a bite of the steamed bun. However, when she turned to look, she saw Lu Sheng putting an entire tray into his mouth, leaving her stunned. Lin Si-san watched Lu Sheng eat so much and thought to herself, only someone from a normal family background who does not yet become an official martial artist would eat like that. Ordinary martial artists, once they reach their level, often rely on supplements to replenish energy consumed during daily training if they have the means. If they don't, they would choose higher quality food instead. For example, Zhang Dan and I both carried dried meat with us. A first-level martial artist only needs to eat a few pieces in a day. If they eat so much, using the restroom would take up half a day. Lin Si-san felt discouraged watching them eat. Zhang Dan was too busy admiring Lu Sheng. Wow, he's so generous with food, really handsome. Noticing something was off, Lin Si-san leaned closer to Zhang Dan and whispered, "Hey Zhang Dan, do you really like this guy named Lu Sheng?" Zhang Dan innocently replied, "Of course. Isn't my behavior clear enough now?" At that moment, Nan pulled Lu Sheng away from his seat. "Brother, there's food over there that you can serve yourself. Come with me." Lu Sheng also indulged her and left space for the two of them, Zhang Dan and Lin Si-san. Lin Si-san was astonished and quickly explained to Zhang Dan, "But he is younger than us. Moreover, he is just a high school student and you can see his unstable aura. I guess his martial arts talent and family background are not impressive. You are a top student from Wu Dai Dong Ning, officially a second-level martial artist." Zhang Dan remained unfazed. "It's only 3 to 4 years difference. Age is not a problem. The first requirement for a pilot is to be young. I believe this is fate. This time you brought me to Two Mountain to meet him. It's a destined connection." Lin Si-san insisted on advising her friend Zhang Dan. "But if you two start dating, how will you live together in the future? Long-distance relationships, no matter how deep the feelings, can't last through several years of separation. Isn't the salary of a formal martial artist after graduation only about $5,000 a month? So where will you live, and what about a car?" Seeing Dan unresponsive, Lin Si-san continued to persuade. Dan, feelings shouldn't be based on impulsive decisions, but on the reality of life. In the future, your martial arts skills will become stronger and the gap between you two will grow larger, gradually accumulating until one day it will explode. Zhang Dan gently explained to her friend, "What you are talking about is not a problem at all. I am a second-level martial artist and I can guide Lu Sheng on his path to martial arts. Even if he doesn't pass the Wu Dai Dong Ning, I can still take a bus to see him every week. He doesn't have a car or a home, but I do." With this, Zhang Dan clasped her hands together and smiled brightly, continuing to take a step back. "Even if Lu Sheng is just an ordinary person, then I can be an ordinary person with him. If being ordinary is an option, then I won't need to practice martial arts every day, which would be such a joy. Recently, I've been feeling exhausted from all the training. My legs are completely worn out." Zhang Dan looked towards Lu Sheng and Nan playing happily, her face slightly flushed. "And who said Lu Sheng is ordinary? In my heart, you will always be strikingly handsome. I believe that Lu Sheng's future will not just stop here." Lin Si-san, hearing this, whispered in Zhang Dan's ear in amazement, "You really are crazy, giving up your martial arts that you have persevered in for years just for a high school student." Lin Si-san pointed at Lu Sheng with a confused expression, saying, "Just look at his awkward walking posture. I really don't know what you are thinking." Zhang Dan looked at Lin Si-san with a sigh. "Ha, let me ask you, is it a bit too soon for you to care about me? We haven't even settled anything yet. Wait until I manage to pursue Lu Sheng and then we can talk." From a distance, Lu Sheng, due to his abilities, could hear the conversation between the two girls very clearly. Lu Sheng scratched his head awkwardly and sighed, "That's just too exaggerated." Nan looked up and asked, "Brother, what does exaggerated mean?" Lu Sheng chuckled and replied, "It's nothing. I was just complimenting those older girls on their beauty." Upon hearing this, Nan understood something. She ran over to Zhang Dan and Lin Si-san, pointed at them, and said, "Brother, these two older sisters are really exaggerated." Lu Sheng felt awkward, wishing there was a hole to hide in. Zhang Dan and Lin Si-san were confused. What does it mean to be an exaggerated older sister? The next day, several guests were preparing to get on the bus, all complaining. The bed at the accommodation was so hard, I couldn't sleep at all, and there were too many bugs. I got bitten so much last night that I couldn't sleep. I won't come to this shabby place again. Suddenly, an old man wondered, why don't we see the family of those three today? The bus is about to depart. The tour guide was also confused. What? Are they not in their room? Everyone, please help me find them. I can't reach them on the phone. The old man then noticed that Lu Sheng was not there either and said, "There is also a young man missing. The elderly women were increasingly worried. How can so many people be missing after just one night? This is so strange. The tour guide hurriedly made a phone call and reassured everyone. You all rest for now. I will go look for the rescue team. Zhang Dan and Lin Si-san, upon hearing the conversation, were equally puzzled. Why can't we find Lu Sheng and that family of three? Lin Si-san was confused. There's no need to worry about that family of three. The father is not an ordinary person. It is indeed strange that Lu Sheng is missing. Zhang Dan expressed concern. I don't care if they are ordinary people or not. Just think about it. The tour guide is busy looking for people, so the next part of the journey will surely be canceled. Saying this, Zhang Dan raised her hand and ran into the forest, saying to everyone, I will go into the mountains to find Lu Sheng. Lin Si-san, of course, would not leave her friend behind. Hey, don't be in such a hurry. The two of them proceeded into the forest, ignoring the commotion among the group.